Scorpio, something in your field is waking up right now, and it's not just curiosity about money or the hope that one day things will get better. What's stirring inside you is a code, a pattern, an ancient sequence of prosperity that has always lived in your spirit but is only now fully turning on. You can feel it already if you slow down for a second. That hum in your chest, that quiet knowing that your story with abundance was never meant to end in survival alone. This isn't another empty promise or a vague prediction. This is an activation. And if your soul led you here, it's because the code of prosperity is already responding to you. Before we go deeper, take a breath and anchor yourself in this moment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely at the point where your inner work, your silent sacrifices, and your quiet faith begin to crystallize into something you can see, touch, and share. For a long time, Scorpio, your relationship with money and blessings has looked like a series of contradictions. You are the sign of power, of depth, of transformation. Yet your bank account has not always reflected the richness you carry inside. There were seasons when you did everything right and still felt blocked. Seasons when money came in like a wave and left like a storm. Moments when you helped others, gave beyond your limits, held space, held secrets, held pain. And somehow you were the one left picking up the broken pieces. It may have felt as if wealth liked to flirt with you, but never commit. As if every time life started to get stable, something slipped, something cracked, something vanished. A job dissolved, an opportunity fell through, an unexpected expense swallowed your progress. And after a while, part of you started wondering if maybe you were cursed in this area or destined to struggle more than others. But your spirit never fully agreed with that story, did it? Some quiet part of you kept whispering, "This isn't the real ending. There is more for me than this." That whisper was not delusion. It was the code, waiting for your yes. The code of prosperity isn't a lucky number printed on a screen or a magic formula someone else invented. It is a spiritual configuration in your own energy, an alignment of belief, emotion, intention, and action. For the sake of your conscious mind, we can give it a symbol, a simple sequence to focus on. 7, 3, 9, 2, 4. Not as superstition, but as a reminder. 7 for spiritual insight, 3 for creative flow, 9 for completion of old scarcity cycles, 2 for divine partnership between you and the universe, and 4 for stability in the material world. When you hear this sequence, don't obsess over it. Let it be like a gentle password that unlocks a deeper truth you already know. You were never meant to live in fear of not having enough. You were designed to be a channel where resources flow in, transform, and then overflow into the lives of others. Your blessings were never meant to stop with you. They were meant to move through you. As you listen to this message, feel how your body reacts when we talk about abundance. Do you tense up? Does your chest tighten? Does your mind rush to old memories of loss, debt, disappointment, or family stories where money always came with chaos or conflict? Those reactions are not proof that prosperity isn't for you. They are proof that old programs are being brought to the surface to be rewritten. This is part of the activation. The code doesn't just pour blessings into an old container, it reshapes the container so that when more comes, it doesn't leak out through fear, guilt, or self-sabotage. In your case, Scorpio, the biggest leak has often been emotional. You tie your worth to productivity, to how much you can endure, to how much you can hold for others without breaking. The Prosperity Code is here to reroute that pattern. From now on, abundance is not a reward for suffering. It is a reflection of alignment. Imagine for a moment that your life is a river. For years, that river has flowed through rocky land, old wounds, old beliefs, ancestral patterns. Money, opportunities, blessings have tried to move through, but the ground was full of cracks and hidden channels. Things disappeared too quickly. You couldn't hold on to them, not because you were weak or foolish, but because the landscape was still shaped by scarcity. The activation of the Prosperity Code is like the universe coming in with gentle hands and reshaping the riverbanks. Some connections are removed, some habits crumble, some doors close, not as punishment, but as redesign. Suddenly, water that once ran wild and disappeared begins to collect, deepen, slow down into something stable enough to sustain life around it. This is why your blessings, once they stabilize, will spread far beyond you. A healthy river doesn't just quench its own thirst. It feeds forests, animals, villages, entire ecosystems. You are becoming that river. To help your mind and body anchor this shift, take a simple step. Later, after this message, sit with a glass of clean water. Hold it in your hands. Whisper softly, "I am ready to live as a channel of blessing, not a container of fear." You don't have to be dramatic. You don't have to feel anything mystical. Just breathe and notice how your nervous system reacts. The Code of Prosperity responds to sincerity, not performance. A single honest sentence spoken from the heart has more power than 100 rituals performed in anxiety. If tears come, let them. They are old agreements leaving your body. Agreements like, "I must always struggle. I have to do everything alone. If I receive more, people will hate me, or if I become prosperous, I will be unsafe." None of these belong to the new story you're writing. Scorpio, wealth has always felt complicated to you because you see everything in layers. You don't just see money, you see motives, power dynamics, hidden manipulation behind it. You've watched people use wealth to control, to impress, to mask emptiness. You've also seen those with gentle hearts stay small because they were afraid of becoming like the ones who hurt them. As a result, part of you may have unconsciously chosen scarcity over contamination. If being rich means being cold, I'd rather stay where I am. The Prosperity Code is here to cut that false bond. Having more does not make you less kind, less spiritual, less human. In fact, when paired with your depth and compassion, abundance becomes a healing force. Your blessings are being designed not to corrupt you, but to amplify the best parts of you. Your integrity is not at risk in this process. It is the very reason the process has begun. There will be signs that the code is activating in subtle ways before anything big happens. Little alignments, like someone unexpectedly offering you help without strings, a bill getting reduced, a new idea dropping into your mind that actually excites you instead of exhausting you. You might feel an inner nudge to finally open that savings account, launch that small project, ask for a fair price, or stop giving your time and energy for free to people who do not value it. These are not random mood swings. They are the code gently rearranging your choices, teaching you that every decision is a vote for the reality you want to live in. When you choose yourself, when you say no to depletion and yes to balance, the universe hears that as Scorpio is ready to hold more. And so more comes. Prosperity is not just about incoming money. It's about stability in your nervous system. It's about waking up without that knot of dread in your stomach every time you check your account. It's about knowing that even if an expense appears, provision will find a way to meet it. The code of prosperity moves first in the unseen realm, your beliefs, your emotional responses, your self-talk, before it manifests in the material. As this code activates, you may notice your internal language changing. Instead of, "I can't afford this," you may find yourself saying, "If this is right for me, the way will appear." Instead of, "I always lose everything," you may begin to think, "I'm learning how to sustain what I receive." These shifts might feel small, but they are seismic. They change the entire trajectory of your timeline. Part of why your blessings will extend far beyond you is because you are not being entrusted with prosperity just for your comfort. You carry a generational assignment. There are patterns in your family line, scarcity, debt, exploitation, fear, that are ending with you. You may be the first to truly question, why do we always live like this? Why are we always afraid of the end of the month? Why is receiving seen as selfish? Every time you heal a belief, negotiate a better boundary, or choose generosity from overflow instead of obligation, you are rewriting not only your future, but the energetic inheritance of those who come after you. Children, relatives, friends, communities you haven't even met yet will drink from the well you are digging now. That is why the universe is so invested in your activation. Your life is the root system of a forest that hasn't fully appeared yet. There will come a moment, Scorpio, when you look around and realize you are living inside prayers you once whispered in desperation. It won't necessarily be dramatic. Sometimes the quiet abundance is the most miraculous. The bills are paid on time. There is something left over. A small amount begins to grow quietly in the background. The people around you feel calmer because you are calmer. You may find yourself able to bless someone else in exactly the way you once wished someone would bless you, paying for a meal without checking the total 3 times, helping a family member without resentment, donating to a cause without fearing it will leave you empty. In those moments, you'll understand what it means for your blessings to spread beyond you. You are not hoarding. You are circulating, and circulation is how the code keeps strengthening. Of course, the human mind will still have questions. What if it all disappears? What if this is temporary? What if I can't handle more? Those questions are echoes of an old season, not prophecies of your future. When they rise, don't fight them with force. Observe them like clouds, then gently respond, "That was my past reality. It doesn't have to be my present." One of the most powerful practices you can adopt in this era is gratitude paired with intention. When something good flows in, a gift, a discount, an opportunity, pause and say, "Thank you. I am willing to manage more with wisdom." It's simple, almost too simple for your intense Scorpio mind, but simplicity is part of your healing. Not everything has to hurt to be sacred. One of the most powerful practices you can adopt in this era is gratitude paired with intention. When something good flows in, a gift, a discount, an opportunity, pause and say, "Thank you. I am willing to manage more with wisdom." It's simple, almost too simple for your intense Scorpio mind, but simplicity is part of your healing. Not everything has to hurt to be sacred. You may also notice that as the code activates, some connections fall away. People who are deeply attached to lack, drama, or constant crisis may feel uncomfortable around your new stability. They may accuse you of changing, becoming cold, or thinking you're better now. But this is not about superiority. It is about resonance. You can't dim your frequency to stay where your spirit no longer fits. In truth, your transformation may invite some to rise with you. Others will choose to stay where they are. Let both responses be okay. The prosperity code does not ask you to save everyone. It asks you to stop abandoning yourself. From that place, you will naturally help more people than you ever did while drowning. Scorpio, your nature is not to skim the surface. You don't want fake positivity or hollow motivation. You want depth that feels real. So here is the real depth. Prosperity will not remove all discomfort from your life. You will still grow, still be challenged, still be invited to stretch beyond the familiar. But those challenges will no longer be about scraping for survival. They will be about expansion, learning to steward, to share, to create from a place of fullness. You will move from asking, "How do I get through this month?" to asking, "What am I being asked to build? Who am I meant to uplift with what I have?" The very questions that once terrified you will become invitations to create something solid, something lasting. As this new chapter unfolds, remember that the code of prosperity is not separate from your spiritual path. It is part of it. There is nothing unholy about having enough. There is nothing selfish about wanting to live without financial fear. In fact, when your basic needs are met, your capacity to love, to serve, to listen, and to heal increases. Your nervous system relaxes. Your creativity unclenches. Your intuition becomes clearer. The universe has always known this about you. It waited for the moment when you were strong enough to receive more without using it as armor or proof of your worth. That moment is now. And somewhere near the edge of this realization, there is a gentle truth I need to speak to your soul. This message is not a contract, it is a reflection. It is not a guarantee of specific outcomes, but a mirror for a possibility rising within you. Think of these words as a spiritual story, a guided meditation for your future, a thought experiment dressed as prophecy. If something here resonates, if it feels like someone just articulated a feeling you've carried for years, hold on to that part. Let it support you, inspire you, remind you of your own potential. If some part does not align with your reality, let it drift past you like a wave that was meant for another shore. Nothing in this message replaces your own wisdom, your decisions, or practical care with your finances and life. It's an invitation to listen deeper to what your own heart is already trying to tell you. So Scorpio, as we come to this threshold, I want you to imagine your life a few months from now. Not a lottery fantasy, not a cartoon version of wealth, but a grounded, peaceful scene. You wake up and your first thought is not panic. You open your eyes and there is room in your schedule, room in your chest, room in your account. You feel steady enough to give without fear, to receive without guilt, to plan without dread. The code of prosperity is not just numbers or words. It is that feeling, that quiet, unshakable sense that you are supported, that your path is unfolding, that your blessings are not accidental and not just for you. As you breathe into that image, whisper softly, "I am ready to live in overflow that heals, not in survival that drains." If this stirred something in you, an ache, a hope, a strange sense of being seen, honor that. It means the activation has already begun. Your only task now is to walk in a way that matches what your soul already knows. You were born not just to endure life, but to enrich it for yourself and for many others who will one day say, "Because you rose, I believed I could too."